My name's Guy Kestevan. I've been a professional bike and kit tester for over 25 years. And this is the brand new Yeti SB-120. So it's time to go to Switch Infinity and beyond. So, SB-120 replaces the SB-115 as the shortest travel, punchiest predator in the Yeti tribe. And you can feel that straight away on the first climb. It properly pricks up its ears and lifts and drives on that Switch Infinity suspension. Oh, and this is quite a burly trail build, but this is a bike on the hunt. And as well, there's more travel. You're getting more reach as well, so 475 on this large compared to a 66.5 degree head, 76.5 degree seat angle. Oh, this just feels properly urgent and wants to push it. Get those bars down, drop those heels. This is a proper little tyre scuffing trail bike. Yeah! And then that punch, that's what this is, that's what I came here for. That Switch Infinity punch. I'll explain in more detail in a second, but yes! Oh, that is the biggest clear I've ever done on that. Easily. Oh yeah. Hello Yeti. You're back. Woo! Oh, this is good. This is really good. And that head angle is slack enough for stability, but still means you can cut in on a climbing turn. And then that seat angle, really nice poise. You don't have to ream yourself on the saddle to get a good traction position. And there's plenty of reach for breathing space, whereas the old bike was decidedly cramped, let's just say. So what's the deal with Switch Infinity? Well, Yeti have always played around with some really interesting, innovative suspension systems, right back to low wheel parallelogram designs, the early DH bikes, sliding rails rather than pivots. And Switch Infinity basically replaces the lower linkage in the way it moves the effective lower pivot with a pair of short Kashima coated, on this Turk version, suspension stubs. And then a knuckle just rises up and down on those by a few millimetres as you go through the stroke. But crucially, that takes it around an inflection point where it starts by moving up and dropping down. So you've got a really nice pedal friendly start to the stroke, and you're just spinning or tapping out like this. And then further you go into the travel, the less anti-squat there is, the less pedal kick back, and the plusher and more big hit friendly it feels. And I mean, I've always sort of struggled understanding how just a few millimetres difference in the position of that low pivot can make such a difference to the ride dynamic, but it really does. And they're packaging it more and more neatly with each iteration, and now it comes with a lifetime warranty as well. Because to be fair, that's somewhere Yeti and their reputation have struggled in the past, is on how long their maintenance intensive that Switch Infinity setup can be. But now, same as the frames, you get a full lifetime warranty on it. What's in it? But while this is the shortest travel and lightest of the Yetis, like I say, it's still definitely a proper trail bike. Got a 2.5 inch tyre up front, you got 130mm Grip 2 Fox 34 fork, you've got DT Swiss XM 1700 wheels, so proper sturdy wheel pack on it, and a proper, you know, big hit. I mean, it feels so planted down here. Yes, and I tell you what, it turns in tightly as well for a lighter, shorter travel bike. It's got some real authority and grip beyond just what's in those tyres, but the whole bike just feels proper. Oh, it's just a beautiful kind of mix of locked down with really nice authority, but still poppy and playful. I'm having no difficulty like bringing the front and rear end up on it. And obviously Fox Float Shock comes with full low speed and lockout on it, but I have to say it pedals so well. Even on the road, I'm not even thinking of tweaking it. Oh, such a good pedaling platform. Really is. I mean, I'll do a separate tech talk round video, obviously, but oh, morning. Are you lost, sirs?
Certainly not. No.
Oh, I didn't think you were like the kind of gentleman to get lost. I always like to check, though.
Oh, thank you anyway. We're just having one or two difficulties, that's all. We actually found the internet route, you see.
Oh, never believe the internet.
Yeah, and some of it is instructions.
I work for the internet. I know you should never believe it.
I understand we'll come to the B6451.
Yes, yeah, it's just below you here.
Yeah.
But if you wind along, you'll get to a... where are you heading from there? You're heading back down to?
No, we're going up the B6451. We're going to the Sun Inn.
All right, yeah, you're heading in exactly the right direction then. But if you... Just for slightly more variety, so you're not on the road for as long as possible.
No, we aren't going on the road to Sun Inn. We're going down into Washburn Valley. Yeah,
right, okay. Oh, in that case, I'll shut up. You know where you're going.
Well, we hope so.
And you know, and you're going in the right direction.
Thank you.
So just follow it along, concrete road down to the bottom, and then you're at the very peak of the B road there.
Is it brand new?
Right, yeah, very brand new, yeah, 2 rides old.
5 figures?
Yeah, and some.
You're joking?
Yeah, no.
They're very good though.
Okay.
Have a good ride, yeah. Have a good walk, gents.
Coffee.
See ya.
Right, where was I? Yeah, tech talk round separately, but just give you an idea of what's going on here. 780mm Yeti bar, Berg Tech forged stem as standard. The boys from Macclesfield are doing well in the OE market. SRAM G2 brakes and SRAM GX wired transmission. And to be fair, I haven't even asked the price tag, but you can bet it's going to be spendy, but whoa, it feels spendy, you know? It's got that proper bougie feel in a way. It just hooks up like Celine, puts the power down. It feels posh and it feels bloody good. Oh, there it goes, yeah. See, most bikes, you gear down for that. I mean, 30.5 kilos, it ain't light. It just loves to hustle. Oh, yes. And it's not so slack and long, but it feels a barge to sneak it up and through sections like this. And again, because even the relatively slow engagement rear hub, that back wheel always feels connected and placed and communicative. Traction is excellent through that aggressor, which generally isn't a tyre I love. And it just feels, I mean, obviously, as you see, it really loves to pin and push, but also just feels super mellow, just cruising around. Hello, meeting random spaniels in woods and floating through the trees. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact they've kept that front end nice and slim. So it's not the stiffest up front. Kind of almost sort of steel tie feel in some ways. Just the way it just adds a bit of connection and compliance to the situation. You know, it's certainly not blunt or beating my hands up. And the fact it's a 34, not a 36, all just plays into a bike that's just really nice to ride and long term. You know, it feels like there's a real pressure among many brands these days to overbuild their shorter travel bikes. You know, and then you get the big fork and then the big weight, and it all just becomes a bit numb and a bit blunt. This has still got some really nice guile and subtlety to it. And when you package that with a suspension system that just gets on with doing a beautifully measured job without you having to think about it at all, it's just, I don't know, a pleasure to ride. It sounds like something you put in a letter to a distant auntie. No, it's not a pleasure to ride your auntie. Oh God, do I edit that? Anyway, you know what I mean? It's like, it sounds a bit polite, and it's anything but when you like that Yeti blue touch paper. But on the other hand, if you just relax on it, heels down and schmooze, it just feels glorious. And that grip, oh, it just loves to suck that bar in onto the ground, make maximum use of that 780 span. Although you obviously are going to have to be careful in the tight tree sections. But I'm just, I don't know, you can probably tell I'm just deliberately flowing it and moving it around just because it feels so good around that sag and inflection point. I say again, it's just a pleasure to play with. There's nothing extreme in some ways about it, but apart from the fact it's just extremely beautifully sorted. Oh, I've been waiting a while for this one. It's been years since I've ridden an SB-115 and loved the suspension, but geometry and dimensions were all out for me. But this is exactly what I wanted this bike to be when I jumped on it. Oh, even when you sit down, there's no sudden jarring or jiving around under your arse. It just carries on that kind of creamy, seamless feel. Just keeps you rolling and pushing on, keeps me chatting, doesn't take my breath away. Pump, push, glide. Oh, it's like a skateboard rap song. Who was it who did that one? Anyway, you know the one I mean. But I just don't want to stop moving it on, moving it around, pushing, telling you how good it is. Oh yeah, that steering, just agile enough. It's not a crazy short stem, this Berg Tech, but again, like suspension, like the handling, everything feels so good. This is like the best 2.5 inch DH. Oh, nearly took it away from me there. I was about to say, it's about the best 2.5 inch DHF it feels like I've ever ridden. And by God, I've ridden a few, and in a lot longer travel, bigger fork formats as well, but oh, this all just syncs together so beautifully. The only issue is you've now got to sit through about 5 minutes stream of consciousness nonsense about this bike. Woo! It talks the talk, and it really lets me talk the talk too, as you'll realise. And this is my new how well does the back end work session, and oh yeah, zero issues at all. Like I say, aggressor, not known for, ironically, its aggression, but yeah, felt it's actually got weirdly kind of live valve flight attendant vibes, in that those first few pedal strokes almost feels like the bike's locked out, but still moving super fluidly over those rocks and rises. Kind of thing that would normally stubby momentum out like a toe. Not an issue at all. And it sounds weird, but even properly chilled out rolling, it just glides and seems to get you just that little bit further in between pedal strokes, so you could just lean and let it flow. And then when you do pop a stroke in, you get a proper lift and push with it. So again, kick push, skateboard vibes in all the best ways. And then tight enough to turn in, put that big tyre where you want without it getting hung out to dry at either end. Oh, it's just bloody good, mate. Yes, Yeti. Oh, I mean, this is a crowded category with some of my favourite bikes in it, you know? Tall Boy, following Izzo, and then slightly longer travel with Pace, Mondraker Rays. Bloody love all of those bikes, but I mean, I get carried away, but Neil's going to put this back in the van at the end of the ride, and I'm gutted. I have to say, love to have this to take out Thursday night. I'd also love to stick some lighter wheels in it, see how it does, and a bit more of a kind of down country vibe. And well, it is pretty low at 335 bottom bracket height. You know, be tempted to put a Sid in there too. And don't actually know, well, Neil doesn't know, so I don't know frame weight on this bike, but I gather, I mean, won't be surprised if it's, you know, tall 2, 3-ish, because it is a tough frame. You've got things like that dual density armoured belly mount, some really nice chunky linkages in there, got switch infinity sliders. There's a lot going on with this frame. Really nice big clamped entry and exit points for the internally plumbed route in, so it's totally silent. You know, it feels like a wireless bike. There's no clatter or batter going on at all. Again, just underlines the quality. You can get a proper metal head badge. I mean, that's a proper hoo if you're not a bespoke bike. But then, Yeti, you know, they're pioneers of mountain biking. You know, started out with John Parker, all sorts of great early days stories about the brand being swapped for motorbikes, and that iconic Yeti desert turquoise blue being a 1976, I think, Chrysler auto colour FRO Tomac Missy Jove Miles Rockwell. Proper iconic brand. Yared Graves, Richie Rude, Judy Furtado. You know, it's a proper who's who of mountain biking, the people who've lived and loved on Yetis. Can I just say lived and loved? Oh my God, it's turning into white woman's Instagram flat out on a single track. But yeah, I am living it, I am loving it. So just gonna have to suck that up, people. It's the same way that this bike is just sucking up all the routes and just turning it into a remarkable amount of speed, control and poise. And you remember, it's only 120 mil of travel at the back, and it still pedals, yeah, cliche alert, like an XC bike when you need to lift it out of a turn. But oh yeah, definitely does not descend like an XC bike. Yeah. Ha ha ha! Ding 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 ding. And while, like I say, it's definitely a trail weight, it climbs techie stuff beautifully. It's a tiny bit of slip there from the rear tyre, but like I say, it's an aggressor. And in terms of pedalling poise, Right, so I loved it so far, but this is where we find out what it's like when you start really pushing it through the jank. See whether that decision to go with 34 or the inline and the slightly slimmer frame really holds up to some hammer, and so far it just feels sublime. And actually running a fair amount of pressure, over 200 psi, and that rear shock, because it's pretty linear. Then they've gone with a 11% progression rate on the SB-120, so less than the longer travel bikes, but loads of support, just kind of naturally in the way that Switch Infinity system sets up, and certainly no problem keeping it online through there. A lovely pop, just the right kind of balance of stability, security, and agility. Loving it. Come on, boost, yes. Love the way it pops those sections. And then knee into that super low top tube, around she goes. Really enjoying making the most of that 2.5 minion on the front there. Whole bike just working together beautifully. I mean, that section often stops short of travel bikes in its tracks and then struggle to come in tight on that, but this SB-120, just loving it down here, but without making it feel really dull. Still a really enjoyable, lively ride. Still feeling a bit through my feet. She's coming in for landing there, but certainly not blowing myself offline. Just really controlled. Got that proper SB race vibe from the 150 and 130, but in a livelier, exactly what you'd want, livelier, lighter, more responsive, trail feeling package, but no shortage of pace down here from what I can tell. Oh, and then when you put the drive in, boom! Yes, Yeti. Fair play. This hangs together when you're hanging it out. I mean, obviously, like I say, there's some real players in this category, and there's others which, but you know, and this is definitely premium price bike, but at least it has, you know, the class to properly feel like that. It really does feel like you're getting something special when you get behind that head badge and start hauling ass on this SB. Right, this is always the test, isn't it? Stain burn black climb. Double dipped. Was riding here with guys from Airbus Pirelli yesterday, so legs aren't the freshest, but see how this Switch Infinity works up here. Like I say, it pedalled beautifully when it's not under load. It's just spinning, but also just glides up over that jank. Just lifts enough to make you feel positive, but doesn't hang up either. And because it's not crazy slack or long jump, just seems to put his wheels exactly where you want them. Yes, SB, you beauty. Up onto the spine, no problems. And again, 34. This relatively slender frame, doing a great job in terms of tracking. No overrun, no wobble, no recoil, just really poised, natural placement. Damn, this is a good bike. Smelling new benchmark statements. And there are very few bikes that make that black jank climb as simple and straightforward as this just did. And remarkably efficient too, because, like I say, it's a chunky build on a bike that isn't built to shy away from proper clobbering. But even though I pushed it all the way through the travel on the last descent, just felt totally calm and composed and just really natural. It's got a knack of putting you in the best place and making you feel like you're having your best days riding. And frankly, what more can you ask from a bike than that, really? Top job. So there we go. I don't think I've talked more positive stream of consciousness nonsense about a bike in a very long time. And that basically says it all. Yes, it's premium. I'm going to get the pricing shortly, so I'll stick that in captions. But you can expect to pay a lot for a Turk Yeti. But if you can, this is just a properly sublime ride. All the way, everything in that package just hangs together really well, which kind of surprised me, because I thought I'd be like, fat front tyre. Oh, they should have made it lighter. But cliche alert, it hides that weight really well. You saw I just came up the black climb, just smooth as silk. So tons of supple traction, but with that real power, poise and punch. And then remarkably good big hit absorption, which is, you know, what makes Switch Infinity so damn special as a system. But anyway, you have heard more than enough about this bike from me. But if you haven't, just get busy in the comments if there's anything I've missed out. So all I need to say is massive thanks to Neil from Silverfish coming up with the bike and letting me have a fine old time around Stainburn on it. Thanks to Giro Cycling UK, Peaties and Crud for sponsoring the channel. Thanks to my Patreon supporters whose names are scrolling up on screen now, and they pledge every month to put a bit of money behind the channel, and mean it makes a lot more sense for me to carry on talking to a GoPro in a wood about bikes, which is hopefully something you'll enjoy. And if you haven't already subscribed, then subscribe, click for notifications so you don't miss the tech talk video on this bike, which will give you a bit more of an up close and personal on the details around the spec. And give this a thumbs up like for YouTube so that they know you like it, which means they might think other people might like it, and we get shared more. The views go up and on and on and on, and the algorithm grows and everybody is happy. But I'm just gabbling, clearly just gabbling. This bike has, yeah, it's got me far too excited. So I'm going to press stop on this any minute now after telling you that I've been Guy Castervan on Guy Case TV talking about the rather sublime, blisteringly quick and beautifully sorted Yeti SB-120.